What's good? I'm live finally. Sorry to be so late. The lighting is crazy, isn't it? Um, it is just like I've said, I'm reinventing the wheel every freaking day. But, I get these ideas and then I think, well, this will be better. And I know better. I know not to change anything. Don't fix what's not broken, right? So, thank you guys so much for being here and being so patient. I'm sorry I had to keep pushing the time back and then came on late also. But we're here. If your guys are here, I'm here. Let's do our little housekeeping stuff. Let's see. I got lots of notes. I've got my thumb. Please hit that like button if you'd be so kind. Did you guys all leave? You got sick of waiting? And share, subscribe, ring your notification bell, or turn on your notification bell so it will ring. Okay, I think that's all of that. Everything I say is simply my opinion, simply for the sake of conversation. Always hoping to open up a discussion and learn something, and hoping that it's educational for others as well. Um, I wanted to talk with you guys today. One of the things I really want to talk about is Gabby Petito, Brian Laundrie, and Kylan Schulte, Crystal Turner. That's the woman identified couple that was murdered out at the LaSalle Loop um, a couple of days after the police interaction that Gabby and Brian had at the Delicate Arches. So I used a photograph for the thumbnail of Caden Young. That's the one, I think that's the correct one, the one who unfortunately passed away. I really think we need to talk about that in depth because, um, as you guys all know, Demetrius and Emma were arrested for supplying him with the substances that ended his life. And then they were cut loose. And I understand why they were cut loose. It seemed legitimate, but they need to be um, rearrested in the right jurisdiction. And my concern is that they're not going to be, that they cut some kind of deal. So, hey, Pixie Knickers and Susan and Christine, hi, you guys. And so I was able to catch all of the chat that was here before me. And I wanted to address something, you guys. Christine said, struggling, but all is good. And Mark Molina said, climb out of our storm struggle. I'm struggling with one thing as well. So I'm curious if you guys want to share. If you don't want to share, that's fine. But I was concerned. I mean, in a sense, we are all struggling with something, correct? Um, but if you're really struggling and you want to share, please do. Um, I think it's so important for each one of us. I said this yesterday, I think, to meet ourselves right where we're at and to meet everyone around us right where they're at. Sometimes I think we tend to feel like we're not good enough and we're all a work in progress. And as you guys know, I've been talking a lot about Mia Zapata, and that was kind of her thing. If you guys have had a chance to catch the documentary, the Get Scott documentary, or I think it was in yesterday's video in the description, I put a link to an Unsolved Mysteries that featured her in the last 10 minutes of it. They did a really good job. So I've been scouring the internet and seeing what documentaries I can find because, like I said, there's been several over the years. Um, and Mia was a very outstanding individual, and her family loves that people still talk about her and keep her alive in spirit. So I want to do that. Her family actually came to my sister's wedding like 6 weeks after the tragedy. So it's very raw, and it's something that like I thought about it and I thought, I don't know if I want to share that on YouTube. But I'm just gonna leave it like that. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. It was 6 weeks. A remarkable family, absolutely remarkable. Sorry, I hit my glass on the computer. Luckily, nothing broke. So, so yeah, I've mentioned her so many times, and I've said that I had a lot of friends, close friends, that were close with her. So I had my sister was also very close with her, and my sister's husband was super, super close with her and the whole band. So, um, that's all the sharing because that's not about me. That's, I really like to keep people's privacy. But I just wanted to let you guys know that. Check Mia out. Check out the Gits documentary. Check out that Unsolved Mysteries, please. Like I said, her family loves people to keep her spirit alive. She's buried, I think, in Lexington, Kentucky. Wherever it is that she's buried, they want people to visit her grave. So, sort of like Jim Morrison or Jimi Hendrix. And she's part of that 27 club that Kurt Cobain is part of. And that, the fake Paul is part of, or the real Paul, if, that whole thing we were talking about a few days ago. The 27 Club. I don't know if you guys are into astrology. I'm actually not really, but the one thing that I am into astrology for is Saturn. Do you know it takes 28 years for Saturn to do its complete rotation? And when you are 28, that polarity of Saturn is so strong and it just changes everything in your life for the better. But it starts when you're 27 and it continues when you're 29. It's something you guys can look up. Like I said, I'm actually not really into astrology. It's not that I don't believe in it. It's just that it's kind of more complicated than I can wrap my mind around. Um, but I like to think about, the weight of the planets and the moon, and if they can affect the tide so much, and most of our bodies are water, then it makes sense to me that they would affect us as people, as stardust, as living beings in this galaxy. So, um, anyway, I really, really want to talk about Gabby Petito, Brian Laundrie, Crystal Turner, and Kylan Schulte. But first, let's check out where you guys are at, and also let's do a little bit more with the Moscow because that is such a sad situation. Um, and the thread between the two is multiple people's lives being lost. I've said this before, and I haven't said it for a very long time. To have an unaliving by another person that's more than one person that's unalived is pretty rare. So having a double, a triple, a quadruple, it's pretty rare, um, even in big cities. So the fact that Crystal and Kylan were unalived by gun 2 days after one of them may have instigated 911 being called on Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito. Um, we'll get there. But the thing with Moscow and four, and then you've got Caden Young, that makes five. And then if you add Hannah, if she's connected, then there's six. And then, there's more, right? There's always more. So it seems to me that Emma and Demetrius are connected to that house, 1122 King Road, and that there being a quadruple unaliving. Like I said yesterday, it's highly, highly unlikely for something like that not to have substances involved. Um, one sec. And let's see, and Delphi. Yeah. And, Delphi is one that I haven't focused on. And it's largely because kids, I can't deal with the unaliving of children. I made an exception for the Watts case, And, you know, even Kylie Rodney is a little bit older, just being 16. When it's like little kids or like tweens in that situation, and they're so close in Delphi. They're very close to the age that I was when I had my experience. So, I just can't. I know a lot of people have issues with covering kids in true crime. Um, and you guys know my issue. So, is that Squirrels of Fire, Mrs. G? I love you and Shanda. Oh, hey, Divine Justice, aka Mrs. G. I'm gonna throw you a wrench too, if you don't mind. And if you do mind, let me know, and then I'll unthrow it. You can throw it back. Um, so I did that yesterday with Mark. I just kind of think, our squirrel squad, we all gotta stick together, right? Um, so yeah, where's Mark? I think that that's like this kind of emoji. That's not one that I've seen before. That's a good one. But just if you want to confirm or deny yes or no, if you're good with it or not good with it, that would be great. It's ritualistic sacrifice for sure. Ew, that's super disgusting. Um, yeah. So I hope you guys don't mind if we don't go into that. It's an honor. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. It is an honor to have you. So, and it's an honor to have all of you. Is my lighting too red? Let me see if that's better or worse. Is that better? Can you guys let me know what you think? A guy on YouTube has incredible understanding of Earth's real history. It's fascinating. He has 26 years reading and documenting chronological events. He speaks about the Phoenix and 138 reappearances. I love you all. Oh, you guys are so cute. Okay, we not go there. Yeah, and as you guys know, I've been kind of all over the map, covering so many cases like in each live. So I was gonna try to stay focused, but I have so much to say about all of them, and I don't want to leave anything out. But I was gonna try to stay focused on Gabby Petito, Kylan Schulte, Crystal Turner, and Brian Laundrie. Ugh. And also the Idaho Four because I put the link to one of Bubbly Water's most recent videos in my description. I think that was from yesterday's video. Well, I had two yesterday, and it was sweet. Somebody said, "Oh, I missed two really good ones, but I caught them on the replay." And I was like, "That's so nice," because I review my lives and I review all my videos. I'm always looking for corrections and improvements. The other day, I was talking about Noah and Milo, the adorable brothers that were interviewed all over the internet, mainstream media, as well as YouTube, that survived the fires. And I said Noah was 19 and Noah was maybe 12. So I meant Milo, of course. I haven't had a chance to, make a comment or put that in the description. But, I'm looking for silly mistakes like that. So Noah, I used in a thumbnail a few days ago, and he is in the water, and it's just like all this fire, and he just has this look of fear in his eyes. He's with his mother and his little brother, and he's 19, and they're just amazing, remarkable, and able to talk about what they went through. And they thought their father was getting burned alive because he worked downtown, and they were like watching downtown burn from the water. And I think they said they were in the water for like 5 hours. And the water was like super choppy because of the wind. And it was cold because of the wind. So, their mother wasn't doing well. She has health issues. And, them being 19 and 12, they were doing all right. But just a harrowing experience. And I'm going to put a link in today's video to a Nightline that is about a month old, but it's David Muir, and he's an investigative journalist that I am a huge fan of. I don't think I've ever spoken about him on my YouTube channel, but his coverage of the Lahaina fires is remarkable. And I trust everything that comes out of that man's mouth. He's not going to say anything that's not true and accurate. Or if he makes a mistake, I'm sure he would clean it up, but he doesn't even make mistakes. I mean, he's mainstream media and he's hardcore. You guys know David Muir, right? Is it the World News Tonight? I used to watch that religiously before I started watching YouTube religiously. Um, so let me get caught up with you guys. Replace pinned message. I just got new name for Megan Ursula. Oh, did MC change her name like on YouTube or something? You've just been pumping out the amazing videos. It's oh, from Little Mermaid. Okay. It's fun trying to keep up with you, but man, it's rough. What do you do? Like 5 a day usually, at least? Um, okay. On the truth is that um Archates on YouTube. What channel? Hi, Christine. I find him so fascinating. Open your mind. What up, Justice? So yeah, Kim is asking about that channel. If you can drop a link, maybe one of the mods could drop the link, or if somebody who's not a mod drops it, then the mod can copy and paste it so that it's a hyperlink. You are an average of 30 to 50 daily. Are you freaking kidding me? No wonder I can't keep up. I try. I do try. I try to watch every single one of them. I had no idea that it was that many. No wonder it's so overwhelming. But they're so freaking good. You and Ninja Chihuahua, and then Shan with her 9-hour live the other day. Oh, you're not good at links? That's okay. Thanks for letting me know. That is wild, you guys. Divine Justice, aka Mrs. G, does some really poignant short videos, and I just love them. And they're almost all about Kylie Rodney, which I love. Um, so let's talk about Gabby Petito. As you guys know, it was August 12th when Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie got into got into it in downtown Moab. And she had been, to my understanding, working on her computer right outside the Moonflower co op, like health food store. And I don't know if it was like a coffee table outside of, that was a Moonflower coffee table, or if there was a coffee shop next door. Sounds like she was just sitting at a coffee table outside the shop for like 8 hours working on her computer. She was trying to build her channel and being a vlogger, as she says, in the video of her interacting with the police shortly thereafter. So, Crystal Turner worked at McDonald's. That's the smaller of the married couple. Kylan Schulte, who I think was like 6 feet tall, she worked at Moonflower. So she got an early shift. They both usually worked early shifts, and they camped out. They were van lifers as well, and they were camped up at LaSalle Loop, which, to my understanding, it's about 45 minutes, maybe an hour outside of Moab. And it's a big loop, like 60 miles, and it's an incredible view. So they were like homesteading up there with their pet bunny rabbit. And so Crystal opened that day. I think that the Moonflower opened at about 8 a.m., and that she might have started as early as 6, because I'm thinking she got off work at 2. I've studied up on all of that, but it's been a while. So I just did a quick crash course refresher. Anyway, she was actually working outside, is my understanding. Like there was like a fruit stand outside or something. And she was 6 feet tall, extremely pretty, beautiful features, beautiful personality, and long brown hair in dreadlocks. And Gabby, being the um fastidious little van life vlogger that she was sitting there working on her laptop um, for very long time. 8 hours is my understanding. So Crystal was on shift for 8 hours. Gabby was working on her computer for 8 hours. And let me say, of course, I could be off on that timing. That's just what I've gathered in the year plus since it happened. Um, or what am I talking about? 2 years plus since it happened. Doesn't it just all kind of blend together? Because last year was Kylie Rodney, and the year before that was Gabby Petito, 2021. So anyway, sorry about the little brain slippage there. It happens. So then it's my understanding that Brian was really anxious to get hiking, right? He wanted to go out to Delicate Arches. And so Gabby was trying to finish up what she was doing. And so they got into an argument. And then there was the issue with water too, because they're in the desert and it was really hot that day. It was August. It was really hot. And um, Brian had a thing that I understand, only wanting to drink his water out of glass, never wanting to drink bottled water out of plastic. I actually get that. But when you're in the desert, like, rules are made to be broken, and it's good to have goals, but you got to be flexible. So they were out of water, and Gabby wasn't allowed to buy water in the health food store, it seems. Kind of making an assumption there, but they were going out to Delicate Arches to refill their water bottle. They had like a 5 or 6 gallon thing. And even the police, when they pulled them over right outside of the park, offered them water because it was so hot. And they probably do that with everyone. And Gabby wanted the water that they offered her in the plastic bottles. I don't think she ever opened them, though, did she? She was. They were both dying of thirst, but Brian, of course, wasn't having anything to do with their water bottles. One sec. All this talk about water is getting me thirsty. And now that I turned that red light off, the green is a little bit overpowering. But I'm gonna try not to worry about it. I don't wanna, like, keep messing with the lighting. It's stupid. That's why it took me so long to come on. But, let me see. This, is my little green light. It's just like a little ball. And there, I'm gonna make it blue and see if that's any better. Since I turned off the red, then the blue is kind of more of a purple. There, that's a little bit better. I was feeling like an alien, like a little green guy from another planet. The lighting I know, I'm totally like, I love the lights, it's fun. The green lighting over the red lighting. Well, what about the blue? Is that better? I love the blue. Anyway, we're gonna stay focused. So, um, when the police pulled Gabby and Brian over, I think that they actually had two people call 911 and say that this couple was fighting and that the guy was hitting the woman. And you guys have heard the story. It sounds like he put her backpack on the back of the van and he was driving away or threatening to drive away. And that eventually she like climbed over him with like he was in the driver's seat and the window was down as they were arguing as he was driving away. But she like jumped through the window and climbed over him. You guys have all heard that, right? And then when they were pulled over, of course, Gabby did what domestic violence victims so often do. She took responsibility for everything that happened, even the reckless driving that Laundrie was doing. BL, let's just call him BL. He doesn't deserve to have a name, in my opinion. And the police, in my opinion, did everything wrong. I mean, they totally fell for his crap. They were thorough. I mean, they spent like at least an hour with this couple, and they had many people out there. Is it Melissa Hall, the park ranger whose body cam is the only one that's never been released? So I've tried to get that body cam, and I've showed you guys the letter that I got from the FBI saying that it wasn't going to be released yet because I think it was like still an open investigation or something stupid like that, because that was like a year ago. And I don't believe that they have the right to not release that body cam. If you remember, it was Paula Plunder who was persistent with um, the Watts case, and it took her 3 years, but she finally got them to release the surveillance video of the interview with NK, the 3 hour and 33-minute interview with Nicole Kessinger, that they had only released the audio to. And it was only about a year and a half ago that they finally, 3.5 years into that case being closed, they finally released um, the visual part of it. And I was in direct contact with Paula from Plunder at that point, and I didn't think she'd ever get it. And I don't know if she really thought she'd ever get it, but she was persistent and she got it. And then the day she released it, Shanann's brother put it up on his site too. Paula doesn't have it up on her site anymore, but many other people do. And many people have done a lot with that video because it was just so phenomenally revealing. And I think that that female park ranger must have had a conversation with Gabby that's on her body cam that they don't want anyone to see. So, you know, let's just kind of fast forward a little bit to 2 days later when these two women were shot dead at their campsite at about 11:35 in the morning, in broad daylight. Um, it was, I think it was a Saturday. Hold on, I wrote it down. I want to say August 12th was a Thursday. And then, let's see, and then there was the Woody's Tavern that Kylan Schulte and Crystal Turner went to on Friday night, the 13th. Um, I think they went there the night after, and then they were unalived the next day. And there were a lot of rumors, Woody's Tavern, that there were rumors that Gabby and Brian went there too. And everything in Moab, it's a super small town. It's all very close to where the police put Brian up, is close to the Moonflower and not too far from Woody's Tavern. Um, let's see. With all my different notebooks, it's hilarious trying to. Okay, so August 12th was a Thursday. Friday, when they were at Woody's Tavern, they told people there that there was some weird guy at their campground, right? And then Saturday was the 14th, and they were each um, wounded, I think, about 5 times. And there was a wedding nearby. There was a wedding very close proximity, and all the gunfire was heard on people's videotapes of the wedding. So they knew exactly what time these two women were unalived. And then there was Cindy, the person that was affiliated uh, with Kylan's father, that she saw a Facebook post that he was desperate to find them because nobody had heard from them. They didn't show up for work. They were super responsible. Um, and the police said that they couldn't find them. But this woman, Cindy, went up there and she like filled her gas tank, took a bunch of food and water, and she knew the loop pretty well because she walked her dogs there. And I can't remember if she knew the girls, but she knew one of their parents. So through the Facebook thing, she got on this, and she did know them because she knew the bunny. She knew the bunny. So she went out there determined to find them. She found one of them after about 5 hours, and then she called 911 and called the father. and the whole thing was completely traumatic. Um, and then was it about a year ago, like coming up on a year ago, that they closed the case and said this guy Adam Pazinski had done it, and then he killed himself a few months later. And I'm not buying that, you guys. That's just a little bit too convenient. His connection to them was that he worked at McDonald's briefly, and he didn't like people that were not straight, heterosexuals, and that he, had a run-in with Crystal, but they never worked together. They never worked together. Um, the alleged run-in was he was working and she came in to make some food, because when you worked at that McDonald's, you were allowed to stop in and make yourself your own food anytime. So she was doing that and he didn't know her and he was offended. And so then months later, he went and unalived the two of them. That's the official story. I don't buy it at all. So, tying it back in with what happened on Monday, the 16th of August, 2021, I think that that was the day that Brian Laundrie flied himself to Florida to go help his daddy clean out a storage unit. And Gabby stayed in I think it was a Holiday Inn Express. She stayed in a hotel room by herself for about a week in Salt Lake City, working on her laptop and like not leaving. But one of the things I want to point out with the whole case with Gabby Petito's unfortunate, horrible domestic violence fatality is that all of these places had video surveillance. Like the hotel, the Holiday Inn Express or whatever it was, they're going to have videotape surveillance. The place where Brian Laundrie stayed, where the police put him up, they had videotape surveillance too. So that would show him going in and going out. And we don't know where he slept that night of August 12th. We don't know where Gabby slept that night of August 12th. There's a lot of gaps in the timeline. So, when he got back from Florida, somewhere around August 24th, they had their fight in the Tex-Mex restaurant, Mary Piglet's, I think on August 25th, maybe the 26th. Um, and then the shoplifting thing, you guys know about that? The shoplifting at Whole Foods, that videotape that was released like a long time later, like roughly about a year after the whole thing. And that blew our minds. And then more recently, they released the part that shows her putting something in her bag, and they don't ring out when they leave, they just walk out. But yeah, crazy. So these businesses like Woody's Tavern, they had Kylan and Crystal on videotape. They showed some still shots of that. Um, the Tex-Mex restaurant not only has never showed any videotape, they also pretended like it never happened. Remember, it was Brian Enton who went there and tried to speak to the manager and spoke with employees, and he did a lot pounding the pavement. Too much time in a closed space with a maniac. Absolutely, absolutely. Um, oh, you're so sweet. You glow no matter what. Blue is a nice soft color, compliments you. Well, I love blue. Um, yeah, it's my favorite one, but usually it's like the red and the green are good to like cancel each other out, and then it just gives you more natural lighting than actual the white lights. But most of my lights are white. And anyway, we're not talking about this. Um, but I'm just reading up all your comments. Both Brian's were wolves in sheep's clothing. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm like done with Brian's. Nothing against nice Brian's, but yeah, too many Brian's. Too many and too much time in a closed space with a maniac. Yeah, I mean, their van was tiny, and even if it was a larger van, that's still, you know, traveling with somebody that you're having friction with. The message is for women to not stay quiet. And the shoplifting, I know, both probably narcissists as well. I just had a vision. I didn't like, oh, tell me your vision, divine justice. Um, and yeah, somebody did a really good video. I will put a link to it. It's a different squirrel than all of our other squirrels. I think her name of her channel is called Layla's Squirrels or Lalana's Squirrels, and she put out the video that shows the shoplifting. So I don't know how she got a hold of that because I don't think I've seen it other places, but that was just a couple of months ago, and that was how I found her channel. And it's just eye-opening because I always suspected that they might have been since they walked out without anything, without paying for anything. Um, but, Gabby's carrying, like, the reusable shopping bags over her shoulder. I think she has, like, 2 and then a purse, like, she has about 3 bags, and Brian's just, like, empty-handed, and he's kinda, like, being a lookout, and then, you know, I'm pretty sure she stole some cheese. That's what it looked like. Um, and just so sad. I mean, she was very responsible, and he seems like a man baby, right? But I think that shoplifting was right after the Tex-Mex thing. And then if you guys remember, there was another like ice cream shop that said that they had come in, I think in Jackson, and that when they were leaving, that one of them yelled to the cashier that they had been interacting with that they were engaged, and she thought it was really odd how it was at the end of the conversation that they'd been conversing for, probably like 20 minutes or something. And then as they were just about to step out the door, they yelled back, "Oh, and we're engaged." And it struck her as weird, and it's always struck me as weird, but it was just today that I kind of had a light bulb of, oh, he maybe, when the police incident happened, it sounds like Gabby was calling off the engagement. Like she talked to her family that day on August 12th, and they were going to fly her back that day, but they thought that things were under control with the police and all that. So um it's just awful, and I'm so glad that her family is continuing to push, because I really believe that, mm, the perp didn't off himself. I don't know how many of you are in that camp, but, I have great reason to believe that he didn't off himself, um, in my opinion. My conspiracy theory opinion, allegedly. Um, but I also believe that he is the one who offed Kylan and Crystal. And some people call them KyCry, that there was like a Facebook group, KyCry Warriors. Um, and they'd only gotten married, I think, in April of that year. So they were only married for 4 months. And they were a very, very happy couple. The father had been out hiking with Kylan and her dad, and then they met Crystal on a trail. She was walking her cat, and the three of them started walking together and talking, and that's how they met. I mean, is that the cutest story of a couple meeting? Um, and then I think they were together for a couple of years before they got married. They both had really rough pasts, but they both were really smoothing things out for themselves. And then they had this pet bunny rabbit. And like I said, the person who found one of them found the bunny first, I think. Anyway, just a disgusting tragedy. And then there was rumors that Gabby and Brian had been at Woody's Tavern when Kylan and Crystal were there. So I don't know if those are true and accurate, but what I had wanted to say is that none of these establishments or law enforcement were forthcoming with their videotape surveillance, right? None of them. Oh, hey, Imprint, what's happening? Um, Dirty laundries, absolutely. And what have I missed? You guys are getting all chatty without me, which is great. Don't worry about it. They were always in the van unless the weather was nice. Yeah, yeah. There's that one video of a downpour where Gabby's in the tent, right? Oh, poor Gabby. Poor Gabby. Tanking is a military term, so I missed the tanking part, I think. Brian getting angry and backhanding Gabby, and she shriveled up because she didn't want to displease him. Well, there's also that video when they're walking outside and she says, Gabby Petito never goes outside. And then he just looks like he was going to backhand her, but he didn't. You guys know what I'm talking about? And the video where she's like, um, I think it's the same little camping spot where she's in the tent with the water the next morning, maybe when she comes out of the tent and she's talking to Brian, and it's really awkward. And it took me a while to notice that her face looked really puffy, like it looked like she probably had been beaten up a few days earlier, maybe, and that it was just starting to not look so obvious. So she made this video, but you could still see it. Um, I'll try to get some of those images out there since I'm no good at doing that whole thing with, like showing it as I'm talking. I wish I could, but I figure there's so many channels that do that that I'll just be one that doesn't because I think most of them do it. So I'm being unique, right? But I'll get there someday, probably. I'll figure out how to do that. He didn't have patience with her. Well, yeah, I don't think I think he was just an ass. I think he would have been like that with anybody, don't you? Um, I think the mom told dad to off Brian. I think mom is psycho. Oh, you mean Brian's mom and dad? Imprint? Whoa. No, I think that they hid him and got him out of the country. That's what I think. I don't think he did either. Narcs never would harm themselves. Exactly, Susan. Like O.J. Simpson. Remember the whole like slow white Bronco chase with the suicide note with the smiley face, and he was trying to pretend like he was suicidal. Weird. Yeah, his own mom, Jade Hunter. Yeah. I think that they planted that backpack that morning with the FBI there, and I think that whole thing was faked. Um, it was crazy when they hid him in their like bomb shelter in the backyard, and everybody was all up in arms about it and like, oh, that's crazy. And I was one of those people too. I'm like, that's crazy. No, no, they couldn't do that. And that's exactly what they did. If you guys have watched that tape where he's sticking his hand up from the side of the raised garden bed, and his mom is slipping something to him, and then the dad says, oh, there's a drone. And then the mom looks up and then she puts her hands in her pockets and they both walk into the house. I mean, it is nuts. And, people tried to say, like, oh, you couldn't have a bomb shelter in your backyard in Florida because of the sand. And it's like, no, you can have a bomb shelter in your backyard. Like a lot of people do in Florida. And pretty much everybody has a swimming pool. And that's the same type of thing, digging in the sand. Anyway, um, and yeah, crazy. Um, hi everyone else I didn't mention. Um, Let's see. I got the vision and it created fear in her and she never felt before and he was her first love and that's the tragedy. Oh, it's just terrible. I mean, so I suspect that she was interacting with at least Kylan at the Moonflower, since they were both there for many, many hours, and that even if Kylan wasn't one of the people that called 911, that BL probably thought that she was one of the people that called 911. And then, like I said, we've never had confirmation of where either Gabby or Brian slept that night of August 12th, or the subsequent nights, or how long they were in Moab before August 12th and how long they were in Moab after August 12th. Like all of that is just like a black hole. And that's all in the file. It better be. I mean, you have to have your timeline, right? Um, let's see. Liabilities or embarrassment, the Old Testament thing. So the thing with law enforcement is that, they are liable for not arresting the perp. And even if they thought that perp was Gabby, I mean, one of the supervisors, the guy who's like training the other guy, even says at some point when they're in the car looking up the laws and trying to interpret them, he says, for all we know, she might end up dead in a couple of weeks or something like that. Again, it's been a while. Sleeping in the middle of nowhere, jealous, thinking those gals would take her from him. And remember, she had her friend Rose in Florida that she was so tight with that he was extremely jealous of. And he took her driver's license when he knew she was meeting up with Rose to go line dancing at a bar. And Rose lived like half an hour away and she was already there and they were already on their way to the bar when she realized she didn't have it. And so they didn't go line dancing. And Rose was supposed to be meeting up with them, I think August 29th in like the Grand Teton area because it was her birthday. Um, and I would think that Mr. Laundrie was probably extremely jealous of Rose. And yeah, maybe he was afraid that, that their friendship could become something more than that. Um, anyway, I'm kind of rambling, aren't I? Let me look at my notes here. So Gabby's staying in that hotel by herself and she did have an interaction with her father. I think she called him because she had some questions about having her email set up for her vlogging account. And he ordered her a Domino's pizza with his electronic account. And then I think that Rose actually worked at a Domino's Pizza, so that was interesting. But yeah, her biological father bought her a pizza when she was at the hotel, but he didn't know that Brian had flown back to Florida. And that whole thing with him flying back to Florida is sus AF. He didn't fly back to empty a storage unit. Like, I mean, that story was to save money because that doesn't make any sense. That plane ticket would have cost a lot of money, and, you know, it's just nuts. None of their story makes sense, but, yeah, that fight in the Tex-Mex restaurant in, Mary Piglet's, very hush hush about that. So none of these businesses wanted the negative publicity, and it's all about the money. They're all pretty much famous. Mary Piglet's is famous in Jackson. Whole Foods is huge. I think it's owned by Walmart now. Moonflower's cute, small little place. Woody's Tavern, very famous. And then LaSalle Loop Road, also very famous. Holiday Inn, the Express Inn, if that's where she was staying. These are big corporations. They don't want the affiliation with the drama, basically. So they all just kind of laid low and pretended like they didn't have any thing to do with this whole thing. And my point is just that that's how all cases are handled. It's always about the business. It's always about protecting the almighty dollar. So the Whole Foods videotape, we finally got to see that 12 months after the fact. And then Lilani's Squirrels was able to put out the video of her actually taking something without paying. And, it helps you put the story together. And it's just despicable what happened to her and what the parents of BL have gotten away with. And if BL had anything to do with this other couple and their demise, and then if this Adam Pazinski guy was just, a convenient sham to wrap it up. And it was interesting too, because I had been covering the KyCry kind of stuff and um about a year ago because my channel was pretty new and people weren't really talking about it, but I was. And then I thought that they had already wrapped up the whole case. And then they came out like a few days later. I want to say it was the end of December last year. And then all of a sudden it was like this big production and they did this big press conference and had pictures of Adam Basinski and how they basically, in my opinion, pinned it on him. He was a convenient fall guy. He had mental health history and, they tried to say that, well, Mr. Laundrie couldn't have done it because he didn't have a gun. But then they tried to say that Mr. Laundrie offed himself with a gun. Like, well, which is it? And what was he doing that week that he went back to Florida? And there's a lot of suspicion about his sister um, helping him basically get back from Wyoming to Florida after Gabby's demise. It's so sad. And thank goodness for Red, White, and Bethune, the other van lifers who just happened to drive by and, they always had their camera on and they remembered the van and were able to find the footage. And that's how they found Gabby. Without Red, White, and Bethune's inner involvement, she probably would have never been found, in my opinion. And that couple, that married couple, Red, White, and Bethune, they have 3 kids, and I think they were traveling around with like 3 dogs or something. And I think they had a 4th child, if I'm remembering accurately, um, a little boy who had passed away on their way to Disney World or something like that. And the mom has a story, I'll have to watch it again, it's been a long time, where she believes that it was her son's spirit who took her right to that part of the videotape because that was really looking for a needle in a haystack. And, you know, it was horrible. I wanna say their little boy was, like, 7 when he passed away in the car accident a few maybe, like, 3 or 4 years before Gabby passed away. Really, really sad. So he was either, their 4th child or their 3rd one, but I think that they had 4, and then they still had 3 surviving children that were all traveling, with them on their van life excursion. Wow, we are already almost up to an hour. And let's see. Um, my ex-husband was like that. Oh, I'm so sorry, Jade Hunter. It's terrible. Is Jazz saying it's thought BL killed these other people in Moab as well? I haven't looked at it. Him and his mom. Yuck. That is what I'm saying, Kimberly Walker. That's exactly what I'm saying. Um, he had motive, he had means, and um, remember there was the whole thing with the keychain that was found at the site and that there were like tags on the keychain. One sec. I need to refill my beverage. Dying of thirst. Um, and I think that there was like a keychain, like a a thing for like a rock climbing place, like a little like membership, uh, like those little tiny credit card things where it's got, um, so you use it when you go to your gym or your rock climbing place. And I think that the story was that Mr. Laundrie worked at a rock climbing place, but then they tried to poo-poo that whole thing and say that the keys were nothing and that there was no rock climbing place. And, it was very suspicious. The whole thing was very suspicious. Um, anyway, so yeah, I, in my conspiracy theory, it, I believe that it could have been him for sure. Absolutely. That's exactly what I came on here to say. Again, just my opinion, and I know that it's going against the grain of the status quo and what's on the official record, but that whole story with Adam Pazinski seems so freaking made up. Like, that is not motive, that he didn't like people that weren't straight and that he was upset by Crystal making burgers when he was on a shift. Like I said, they didn't even work together on a shift ever, allegedly. So, that whole story is just bizarre. Truckee protecting commerce, exactly, exactly, exactly. Stealing to feed him. You didn't see him stealing to feed her, using her. So true, Kimberly. And yeah, it's like, wait till you see that Lalani's squirrels video. It's really good. Um, because, there's also footage of them getting out of the van, and it looks like Brian slammed the door. Like he was really mad. It really looks like he slammed the van door when he gets out. And then he goes to the back of the van, and there's a lot of like um kind of delaying and hesitating before they go in, like they were probably a little bit nervous about it. And like they should know that the best way to shoplift is to, like, if you're stealing something, buy something. Like, to walk out of there without buying anything was extremely brazen, extremely. So, I mean, I think professional shoplifters, I think that usually they buy one thing and steal something at the same time so that they look like they're paying customers, so that they blend in. Because when you walk out of a store without buying anything, you would be more, it's uncommon to walk out of a store without buying anything, right? I mean, once in a while, but it's most people are walking out after they check out. Um, let's see. Kimberly says, got it. He seems slimy. Just seeing always blame on someone else won't do what it takes to feed partner. She steals to feed him. He doesn't fight the same for her, etc. Always looking for exit. And the whole thing with the Merry Piglets was they were fighting about the bill, and um, one of them, I think that she went in and asked for their money back after they left. But he had gotten into an argument with a staff person numerous times. Like he kept coming back. And she was crying, and there was that one TikToker that was sitting at the next table that made a video about it. And then the restaurant tried to deny the whole thing. And it was Brian Enton who, like I said, went there and tried to talk to people. And he talked to somebody that admitted that they were there, but the management was not having any of it. It was really like obvious that they were just wanting to keep their names out of it. And I understand that. It makes sense, but how about showing some respect to this person who lost her life, and finding the truth? Like, I mean, it was totally covered up. And I think that Mary Piglet's experience was, I think they went straight to Whole Foods. I think I could be wrong about that. But it was very, very close, in that close proximity. Um, let's see. Narcissistic traits, exactly, more self-interest than partnership. and the burger fight sounds like power and control. This is my shift. This is my store. Um, yeah, I mean, to me, it just sounds bogus. Like that's not going to upset somebody to the point that they're going to go out and hunt these people down. I mean, they were hunted. They were both shot in the rear side. They were both like partially unclothed. Like I don't think they were SA'd. I hope not. But their humiliation seemed to be a part of the unaliving, in my opinion. They were running away from the attacker. Um, Loud noises and see the underline, others don't. My PTSD, I hear those loud noises and see the underline red flag, others don't. Yeah. Um, so yeah, I think that the possibility of Gabby's the person that took Gabby's life, Gabby's unaliver, still being alive himself. And then if he is alive himself and potentially could have committed this double homicide, again, what I had said earlier about double homicides are extremely rare. And there's murmur about substances with that whole thing too. There's murmur about substances with Mr. Laundrie. There's murmurs about substances with the couple that was um, shot. And I don't know that any of that's true, but it certainly would fit with Mr. Laundrie. With the couple, it seems like that they had that in their past, but they had gotten away from that. So, anyway, I'm glad that you guys are here and, willing to talk about this case with me because it's an old case and it's not what people are talking about right now, and I think that it needs to be talked about. It's still an active case. There's still the active lawsuit, and we'll see what happens with all that. But I also wanted to switch gears at this point and talk some about Maui, and I always want to get back to Ms. Kylie Rodney. um, Parents should have been charged for sure. Well, they still can be, Mark, I think. But you got to remember, Brian Laundrie's mother worked for the government in um, Long Island, where they were from. And there was just weird stuff with law enforcement. Absolutely. If you're talking about the lesbians that were shot before Gabby was killed, they were shot by the coworker. I know that's the how it went down on the report. I don't believe that. I really don't. Adam Pazinski is his name. There is the civil option. There was a coworker that went after the two girls. It wasn't Brian. Well, like I said, I don't believe that. So that was my whole point of coming out and talking about it. You're welcome to disagree, but I'm not wanting to argue about it. I'm wanting to talk more about Maui. The case with uh, the whole bamboozle of that police chief, the mayor, the governor, all backpedaling. They started with saying that 3,000 people were missing, and then they went down to maybe about 1,000 people still missing. And then magically they went down to like 31 missing. It's pretty crazy. Um, haven't heard a lot about this part, Van. Here we go, Maui. Um, Thanks, you guys. So yeah, the whole going from, the 2000 missing kids to 0 missing kids. Um, I'm not saying that there's 2000 missing kids still. I'm just saying that there's a lot of people that I believe perished that they're trying to cover up because they don't want to have that responsibility of I was the governor, I was the mayor, I was the police chief. We allowed this to happen. And like I've said again and again, even at best, even if it was some type of wildfire, some, natural occurring wildfire, the whole thing was mishandled from the ground up. And the people that are first responders and the government, I believe, are should be held accountable for it becoming so disastrous and so many people losing their lives. Um, David Muir in this video that I'm going to put the link in the description. It's about a month old, and he's interviewing 2 ship captains that came to rescue people out of the water. And it's just phenomenal listening to the things that they had to say at that point in time. And I believe that David Muir would not report on this the way he did if he wasn't 100% sure of its validity, that things are vetted for him. He doesn't have to vet it himself. He's mainstream media, but he's got like a whole cast and crew of people making sure that their information is accurate before airing it. Um, so, yeah, Maui and the missing kids. Well, there's just so much of the back and forth with that. I don't really want to be hammering away at that particular issue. I want to hammer away at all the missing people. All of the people that are not being spoken about, because I think there's so many victims that that people do know about that aren't, they're not gonna, like, go out to the news and interview about the people that they've lost. I mean, it's just too painful. Um, it's so dark and scary, and some of them passed, but there's a lot of people and kids missing. Exactly. Exactly. I think the numbers at this point are, like, that there's still 1,000, roughly 1,000, um, students that should be enrolled in school or, doing school online that aren't, um, they're not registered as doing enrolling in a new school or being online. And it's my understanding that the online, is maxed out, that there's no more, um, there that kids can't be registered to do their schooling online because that's all full. So they could either go to a different school or be truant, basically. Um, did you see that the lady warned people since after the fire, she started talking by introducing herself as a number? What? I have not heard anything about that. That's super wild. Let's see. Um, I'll try to find it. Did you remember her name? Sounds interesting. Chat is making me wait to send messages, makes me sound mad when I'm not. So it should only be 15 seconds. So I just have it so that it pauses people, but hopefully doesn't frustrate people. Um, I just have a 15-second delay. Once you make a comment, you can't make another one for 15 seconds. Might seem like a long time if you're dying to say more, especially if what you're trying to type in is too long and you have to break it up in several pieces. I know that's frustrating, so I apologize for that. Um, I feel that he is still alive, did unalive the couple, and possibly because they witnessed something he'd done to Gabby, allegedly, in my opinion. Hey Nana, Psychoville, aka Leah. Welcome. I don't think I've seen you before. Hi. Hawaii Real Estate is covering the story from Maui. He has also interviewed a lot of people on what happened. He's amazing. Eric West is absolutely amazing. He's done so much to put the truth out there early on. Without him, these people very well could have hoodwinked the world, in my opinion. Um, there are a few other people that are of that caliber of Eric West, but I think that that man is just really doing God's work, in my opinion. He's absolutely outstanding. And these people that get threatened, like he got threatened, he got his life threatened, if he didn't just like shut the F up. If there wasn't something to it, nobody would threaten his life like that. So Um, you know, I think he's onto something. Absolutely. He has great videos. Yes, he does. And yeah, I put links to his videos in my videos all the freaking time. Um, he did another really good one just in the last day or two. He took a break after he got his life threatened and got his business ruined, but he's come back into it. So, Open Mind Perspective says 2,000 kids are missing, and you believe that 2,000 are still missing? I think it's down to about 1,000, but I do believe that a couple thousand people are missing. But, that's my opinion. I appreciate your opinion, and I really appreciate you sharing because, yeah, that's um crazy, huh? I'm a super fast typer. LOL. Um, That's what's being said. Well, and then, I don't want to name other channels that I won't speak highly of, but some people are saying it's all resolved, and I think that that's a crock too. I think that there's a lot of um people that passed away that are not being talked about, and uh, I think that the Maui Police Department has just announced that they're launching an investigation into themselves and how they handled the case. And that's crazy. Like, they can't be the ones to investigate themselves. That's completely insane. You always have a third party in a situation like that, or an outside party. Like, I was just horrified. I saw that and I'm just like, good God. Like, that's a joke. Absolutely, you can't have Maui Police Department investigate Maui Police Department and their response. Um, so that's the figure that is blowing me away. 2K, they have all the audacity. Evilness has certainly become active in our lives. Pray for the Maui people and keep your faith in the Lord alive in your lives. Yes, I agree with that, Christine. Um, Mark redacted his own message. What? Those people only got $700. They can't build a house or bury anyone with that. Nothing is resolved. 100%. I don't know who said resolved. If anyone used that word. It cost $3,000 for medical examiner and cremation in 2016, not including services. I think the cost of a cremation and a funeral in Maui is in the range of 10,000. Um, and it's something that Hawaii Real Estate was talking about, and he was interviewing someone who went to Maui to help people pay for funerals and cremation or burials. And then it was said that the Red Cross was going to be paying for them, and then it was said that they weren't paying for them. So I don't know what's going on with all that, but it is major effery, in my opinion. I got back on and it was stuck on the early content. LOL. Oh, okay. You got back on and we're talking about the Petito case. Um, Higher prices because it's a tourist trap. 3K was Tennessee price in 2016. Yeah, cremation is a lot more expensive than I think most people realize until they have to deal with it. Um, and yeah, everything is super expensive in Hawaii, and Maui is more expensive than the Big Island and more expensive than Oahu. Kauai and Maui are the two most expensive. But yeah, that um, Lahaina is going to need a lot of money and attention for a very long time, and it's my fear, my speculation that they're going to just go ahead and build that smart city. That's what it seems like the plan was all along. I'm highly suspicious of the whole thing, and it's absolutely devastating. Absolutely. They need to make those little people that want to go back, give them the $1 million condos. Um, they need to make those little people that want to go back, give them the $1 million condos. Not really sure what you're saying there, Kimberly. Um, so yeah, there is a brand new video by Martin Decoder. You guys have heard me talk about Martin Decoder. He's the linguistics analyst. He does one on Oprah, and he's using a little bit of the thing that she did with The Rock with the Maui, that stupid crap, but he's doing it also with her interviewing Meghan Markle. He seems to really dislike Meghan Markle. I don't agree with him on that. I am not a Meghan Markle hater, but it's interesting the things that he's saying about Oprah and her way of interviewing. So I'll put a link to that. Because at first I got real excited. I was hoping he was gonna like break down the whole tape that she did with The Rock, um, where they're trying to encourage people to give money. And they said that they were each putting in $5 million to start, like seed money. And then there's a lot of scuttlebutt about whether they did or not. So it's just nuts. I'm was just glad to see that he was covering her. Um, I'm part of the squirrel, Nan Psycho. A I'm part of squirrels, but I'm not always in chat. I've taken the girl one out. Is that Cham O girl one out? I have no idea what you're talking about. Um, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of goodness in the Squirrel Squad, in my opinion. Mark's part of the Squirrel Squad, and um, the Divine Justice, aka Mrs. G, is part of the Squirrel Squad. And if anyone else that is that I am not recognizing, please uh, raise your hand and do a squirrel. Because, yeah. And like I said, that other channel, the Lonnie Squirrels, I was fascinated to find that. The one with the Gabby Petito shoplifting video from a couple of months ago. Like the poor people, normal citizens, if they want to go back, Maui needs to give them the new mansions, let them be the first tenants in them. The people need their land and rights, and $5 million to each family member who survived. Well, remember that the state of Hawaii was due to pay back $328 million in a settlement um, to native landowners. So the first distribution of that $328 million settlement was due in September. And we really have to keep in mind the water rights issue also. So it's not just a land grab, it's also a water rights grab, and it's a calling off the $328 million payments in my estimation. Um, so August 7th was the deadline for Native Islanders who had won the water rights in a lawsuit, and then um, the fire happened on the 8th, and then the 9th, the proclamation was made to suspend that, to suspend the laws. So the greedy powers, corporate powers, get to have their own water rights the way they wanted. The water rights that they lost the rights to in the eyes of the courts. Um, not just $700 and say no more. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? I mean, to me, that was like spitting in their eye. Like that was just insulting as all get out. $700 per household, not even per person. Even if it was 700 per person per month, that I think would be like a good start, but not enough. Not with those prices there. I mean, 700 a month in the Midwest, I don't think would really be enough. Um, Thank you, S. Smith. I do a lot of research, but I I don't think I'm the best at it. I like the way we can all work together and, you know, when two heads are better than one. I mentioned that yesterday. That's such a funny movie. I haven't mentioned that movie before. It's a great one. But when we all get into the chats, it's phenomenal. I feel like just when we're working together and uh, discussing these things. So we've talked about Maui. Let's talk about Ms. Kylie. Hello, all. Hello, Jazz. It's me, Casey the cat. Um, what did you find, Jade Hunter? You said found it. What did you find? Were you hunting? Um, or was S. Smith talking to you about that you're great at doing research? I thought you were talking to me, but thanks. Commissioner for the Homeless speaks out against Maui fires. Um, Commissioner for the Homeless in Hawaii? Because there is a commissioner for maybe not a commissioner, but an attorney suing their Sacramento, an attorney suing the city for the massive blundering of not dealing with the homelessness problem there. I guess they have more homeless than San Francisco, which has gotten really bad. I mean, it was bad the last time I lived there in 1996, and it was bad when I lived there as a little kid in 1972. And it just keeps getting worse. Portland, Oregon was also really bad, but Sacramento, it's worse than San Francisco. Seattle's just gotten horrible in the last 15 years since I left there. It's unbelievable. Um, and yeah, there is such craziness that these tent cities are set up, and it's out of control. So I don't know about the commissioner for the homelessness speaking out against the Maui fires, but yeah, I mean, a lot of people who had homes are now homeless and unhoused. That's kind of a better term, I think, because homeless is kind of derogatory. Um, so yeah, these people who are without homes, basically. Dark, 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 sadistic, like that makes me involuntarily cover my eyes to burn people down and then basically hand them a $1 check. Whoever's idea this was is dark, Mark. By the way, I like your videos. Oh, thank you, Sammy Smith, talking to me. I have a lot of interest in these cases, and I don't always get my facts straight. I made some errors recently that I was cleaning up in my videos yesterday. But I do really care about justice for all of these victims. Um, so Ms. Kylie Rodney, Mark says, I had a new Kylie thought. Why did Lindsay move away from the lodge? Did something happen there and she couldn't live with it? Or did Grandpa kick her out for something she did? Oh, I mean, these cases are just crazy from the ground up. I mean, the spin that is put on these cases as soon as they hit the airwaves, none of the story makes sense. None of the story with Kylie going to this party and then nobody saw her leave. It's just BS, you know? Um, I mean, same thing with Moscow, with the Idaho 4. It's like none of the story makes sense from go because it's all a crock. And the similarities of these young adults or, teenagers, Kylie was about to become a young adult. The people in the Idaho 4 were young adults, just barely not teenagers. Um, and there being people around that say they didn't see anything, and these other people that weren't hurt, like nobody else in the Kylie Rodney case was injured. Nobody that we know of, right? Not a single person, not a scrape. I mean, that's arguable because it sure looks like Samantha Smith has a bunch of bruises and scrapes on her, right? But yeah, it's just nuts. Absolutely nuts. So, yeah, I agree. I agree with you, Mark. Yeah, he's doing great videos. You guys should check him out. And if you're not familiar with Divine Justice, aka Mrs. G, check her out. And also the imprint was here a little bit ago and she does some really good videos. And the van, what was your channel when you started? So it's Open Mind Perspectives now. It used to be called like Van Life and with Milo or something like that. Anyway, they all have channels, so check them out. And if you have a channel and I didn't mention you, please raise your hand. So, let's see. Search YouTube, my commissioner comment. Interesting. Yeah, I will write that down. Um, so search YouTube, my commissioner comment about the unhoused. Absolutely. Because yeah, it's so annoying if there's something in chat and you don't get it right now, then when the live posts, you can't see the chat for the first 24 hours usually. It's very annoying. I guess maybe that's like YouTube checking it to make sure it's all safe and kosher. It seems like I have something on my tooth. I'm all self-conscious. Somebody told me I had broccoli in my teeth the other day, but they were just messing with me, I think. Anyway, um, totally self-conscious now. It's so funny. Don't mess with me, people. What is the Alicia Singh connection with Kylie? Never ever understood. Such a great question. Thank you, Casey, the cat. So Salisha Singh is, and this is a really common last name, the Singh last name. She was the person who was making a lot of comments, um, saying that somebody, isn't she the one who said that she was renting out the apartment and some people came to look at it and they had like a strung out teenager with them that it sounded like she was alluding to that it could have been Kylie. Um, Salisha Singh has a sister, Vanessa Singh, allegedly, who is kind of like a madam type. And Salisha and Vanessa may or may not have a connection with Sammy Smith. It's all very weird. Um, used to teach swimming, so hold extra space with me. Oh, because I have my lifeguarding. You guys know I'm a certified lifeguard. I don't know if that's what you're saying to me or to somebody else. Let's see. Search this. Commissioner for Homeless speaks about. Thanks. Um, Commissioner for Homeless speaks about. I will. Um, I've got it copied, Jade. I'm gonna watch it after this. And Christine says, I don't know, Mark. I don't think she could take the heat or just doesn't want to deal with her daughter's death or doesn't care. Well, and the lodge had been for sale, and a lot of these businesses were having a really hard time through COVID, and apparently, Lindsay was being investigated for maybe falsifying um, some of those small business loans, right? Like saying that she had employees that she didn't have or something like that. And maybe that's why she had Jagger and Kate move in for a little bit, was she was being investigated and she was trying to cover, possibly, allegedly. Um, Thanks could just be hiding as well. Speaking of Idaho 4, would you know why at the beginning there are 22 FBI in Moscow and 20 in the Treasure Valley in Salt Lake City and in West Virginia? Um, I wouldn't know why myself. And 22 FBI in Moscow, 20 in Treasure Valley. I don't know what Treasure Valley is. Salt Lake City, Utah, and West Virginia. So I did want to mention too about on Shan's one of her real recent lives. I think the one like the day before yesterday. I think it was the 9-hour one in the first couple of hours. They're talking about I wish I was there. They're talking about kind of like a Bermuda Triangle in the Truckee Tahoe area, and it has been called the Green Triangle for decades, you guys. Truckee, Tahoe, like Placer, Nevada County, that area has been called the Green Triangle by locals in San Francisco for many, many years. Like people disappear there. I know I've mentioned that once or twice in my videos, but yeah. She's a stone cold monster. I think you're talking about Lindsay. Um, Pre-existing investigations. $1 million question. I'm late, but I'm here. Hey, harsh one. Shelly True Crime. And she's got a channel too, you guys. Check her out. And she put up the post the other day of um Zanime next to what's her name? Bethany Funk, right? And yeah, stunning. Absolutely stunning. Check out that community post. Wasn't there messages from Sing to Sammy about rescuing Kylie? There, I've paid some attention to it, but it confuses me too. And yeah, the Celicia Singh, I think, says that Vanessa Singh is her sister, and that Vanessa Singh has a connection to Sammy, and Celicia Singh might have a connection to that family of 4 that was kidnapped and then executed. The husband and wife and the small child and the uncle of the small child. Um, so there's some people who say that that was Celicia Singh, but I don't know that that's true or accurate. To you, sorry, thought you also said you were a swim instructor. No, not a swim instructor, but a lifeguard. Yeah. I love swimming, so maybe you've heard me say that. Um, let's see, drug trafficking, DEA investigations, and also think the Aryan stuff. Wow, that's a lot. And you're talking about Truckee, Kimberly Walker. And when you say Aryan, are you talking about like Aryan Nation, like white supremacy crap? Yeah, justice for Kylie, truth for them all. There are some well-known racist writers that live in the Carolinas, Virginias, etc., that have ties to the groups in Idaho, under the surface, federal level stuff. Wow, Kimberly, I don't know anything about that, but I totally uh, follow what you're saying and believe that that could well be true. I mean, Idaho is known for being like that, unfortunately. Um, it's very unfortunate. Oh, leave our children alone. Harsh one, Shelley. Yeah. I know we've got to protect our kids. Um, the 40 million as the crow flies from that green triangle. Not sure what you're saying there, Jade Hunter. I don't know if those are typos. 40 miles from the green triangle. I'm so confused. Horrible red rums. Yes. Spy versus spy, left hand versus right hand. Ara, what's up, girlfriend? Nice to see you. And squirrels, you guys both got here at the same time. Did you just walk in together? Um, oh, thanks so much for coming. I was totally like thinking we were winding down, but now that you're here, let's ramp it back up. So we were on our Kylie Rodney part, you guys. So you got here just in time for that. Um, man, Squirrels has been pumping out so much with the Kylie Rodney case. It's just freaking phenomenal. Um, and Idaho, Washington, Oregon. Yes, the Aryans of all shapes and sizes, the Pacific Northwest. So, I lived in Seattle area for a very long time, and I lived in Portland, Oregon just for 1 year. And there's a lot of that in Oregon. People don't realize it because people think of Oregon as being very liberal, and it is, but it's also very liberal towards that, unfortunately. So it used to be the second highest KKK per capita, second only to Idaho. Um, but I don't think it still holds that high of a ranking. I looked it up recently and it had slipped. So Oregon's like seventh or something, but Idaho is still first. The KKK membership per capita. It's really sick. It's really sick. It makes me nauseous. Um, I'm late per usual. I'll replay crew. So yeah, you guys, I started out with talking about Gabby Petito and Kylan Schulte and Crystal Turner, the lesbian couple that was shot to death up there at LaSalle Loop Road. Because it's my opinion that uh, the same person that offed Gabby may have offed the two of them. Um, I know that that is not the popular opinion and it's not the way it's been written by those in charge, but I definitely, my opinion is that Adam Basinski is just a total um, fall guy, just absolutely. Anyway, and then talking about Maui, of course, and then Kylie, and then there was some Moscow in there too. I was looking at older videos and thought it was interesting. Idaho law enforcement had FBI in those places per their press release. There's also a lot of the people in Idaho that I've looked up that have connections to Washington, D.C. It seems like there's a lot of government in, um, like national government in Idaho. That's my impression. Yeah, 4 miles. Jade Hunter says, lunchtime for me. Yay. Lunch is always nice. They've been moving people into the southeast from Pennsylvania, from the Pacific Northwest. Georgia is a big target right now, the Carolinas. Oh, you mean the unhoused people? Is that what you're talking about? Um, Curious. Hi, sorry, had to handle business. Son just got home and woke me from my nap, and I'm needing to wrap up too, you guys. We're just at an hour and a half. Unless if you guys want to just chill for a second, I could just like take a break. I have to go to the bathroom. So I'm also hungry to eat. But I could do what some of these marathoners do, and they just go and take care of business and then get back on, and I could just like eat right in front of you, but I wouldn't do that. I'd be too shy about it. Um, so, but I will take a break and go to the restroom. And you just got your wrench. Woohoo! Party on. How'd I get so far behind? Aura had a new video watch. Aura just came out with a new video. Happy Friday, Aura. That's right. It is Friday. I had no idea. Awful. I've seen posts with text, but I'm not sure if it's real or something else. Just a few. Sing were in the bus last month in California. It's a very common last name. It's like Smith. Um, and oh, Mrs. G. Mark, I was looking for you. Hello, Ara. Um, Not the unhoused people. Idaho, Washington, all that crowd. Okay, thanks, Kimberly, for clarifying that. So let me take a quick break. Can you guys chat amongst yourselves? I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I've never done that before, you guys. I've never just like gotten up and gone to the bathroom, have I? And I also grabbed a yogurt. So I'm gonna eat in front of you guys. I'm starving. Um, what did I miss? Um, Are you coming back, Jazz? Yes, I'm back. I just had to run to the ladies' room. I'm sorry. I've been drinking a ton. I just realized because I took an allergy pill. I took a Benadryl, so it's like making me very thirsty. And so lots of I've already finished like 2 glasses, one of water, one of iced tea. So I just was like my bladder was busting. And I'm sorry to eat in front of you guys. I just am totally hungry and want to stay on. So I hope you don't mind. Friday sucks. Why does Friday suck? Divine Justice. The California connections link to Indiana, like the Delphi case. Indianapolis and Delphi, Greenfield, Indiana as well. Is Greenfield where those other two younger girls were assaulted and attacked like that before Delphi? I think it's been like 10 years and it's still unsolved. Not like Fridays anymore. Why do you not like Fridays anymore? She's gonna stay longer, I think. Yeah, I think so. I hate Friday because Fee usually leaves me. Oh, I'm so sorry, Shan. Um, let's see. I love a Friday, 8 p.m. I'm having a couple of gins. Um, but Kylie, I'm eating too. It's okay. Yeah, I I just hadn't had lunch yet. And I thought about eating lunch before I came on, but I was so far behind schedule already. They stole Kylie from us. Yeah. I love JWTV a lot too for real world videos. I don't know what JWTV is, squirrel. Fill me in. I just watched Delphi updates. Makes sense to me. Hey, Mellow Rose. Yeah, I try not to watch the Delphi stuff because it's just so gruesome. It's just so gruesome. I mean, these other cases are gruesome too, but when it's little kids, it just really makes me angry. Really, really makes me angry. Um, I'm not sure. I'll have to look it up to see if it was Greenfield, but if it was that ping something, a guy who was involved in Moscow jumped states to Indiana. He's supposedly in Greenfield. Interesting. Um, Kylie was blank on Friday. You're right, it was a Friday. Wow, that's wild. What do you think about Anna Larson saying that the search was called off August 7th? Um, Crazy, isn't it? Absolutely insane. So Anna Larson is Mags Larson's mother, that owns the tattoo shop, who may have just gotten back from a trip to Mexico that she took Kylie with her. Maybe they got back like a week before, allegedly. Um, yeah, that's crazy, Ara. I know that that happened, but it's completely insane, isn't it? Um, he could have jumped again since I found him. Yeah, Meg's grandmother. Okay, the grandmother. Thank you. Um, right. I remember her being interviewed like on the street with another woman her age talking about it. It's a YouTube channel that goes down awesome rabbit holes and talks about government secret stuff. Because all fake are, in my opinion, the search. Oh, yeah, absolutely. The search was totally fake, in my opinion, too, Mark. I agree with you on that 100%. Um, yeah, they knew they weren't going to find her. Never forget our Miss Kylie. Minnie said it was called off between the 7th and the 9th. And there is a memorial screenshot that says August 7th was when she passed. Right. And if it was after midnight on that night that they say it was, then wouldn't that be the 7th? Wasn't um wasn't Friday the 6th? Am I getting my wires crossed? Let me look it up on my calendar real quick. Um, let's see. Calendar, where are you? You know that is it today? That's the last day of summer, and then fall starts this evening, like around 11 something. Um, so looking at last summer, August 6th was Saturday. So Kylie, they said that she disappeared on Saturday. But then you're saying that they have August 7th, Sunday, as the day of disappearing. That's bizarre. That's truly bizarre. Um, hmm. Yeah. See, Ara, it's so awesome that you took all those screenshots a year ago, over a year ago. It's amazing what you're doing. Um, so keep it up. How did it ramp up to go from 900 to 19,000 hours? And they couldn't find her, and they got what, $3 million worth of federal funding for that. Lindsay herself announced it. Check out the upload I posted today. Oh, I will, Miss Ara. Do you want to drop the link too? That's please do. I don't see 19,000 hours on Caltapo. Did they search the lake once before they found her? Well, they said that they did. But remember how when they were like telling people they couldn't search more than like 25 feet out? That was weird. That was bizarre. 19,000 hours is like 7 months. The proof is in the yogurt. It's Yoplait Pete's. It's a little sugary for me, but every once in a while I'll do Yoplait. I usually like plain yogurt, actually. And this is probably low fat, and I like full fat. It's probably low fat. I hadn't even thought about that. Anyway, I don't think Yoplait makes full fat, and that's kind of my thing. That's probably why I don't eat it that much. But it's like a comfort food. It takes me back. My kids like it. That's why I buy it. Um, Tallied those to accumulate their BS hours and profit 3.5 million off of her passing. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Fall makes you sad. Oh, I'm wondering how long she was in a freezer before they moved her to the lake, which had to be coordinated so they weren't seen. Well, is that why Nick had them go to Boca? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? So just like the Squirrel Squad has recently won me over and convinced me that um, the last proof of life photograph is not Kylie, you've also won me over with being suspicious of Nick, the roadside assistance guy. Was it Crime Watch with Kenny, or was it Mark Molina who said? I think it was one of the two of you that said by now you would think that he would have produced something to prove that he was working for AAA. Yep. And I remember him speaking with Squirrel Girl, and then she produced videos about it with his permission. But, that was highly scrutinized. Like, why, if he's going to talk to her and allow her to talk about it, why not just go on the show with her? Right? Um, yeah, I'm with you, Kimberly, wondering how long she was in a freezer. That's disgusting. But yeah, it seems like that was a thing. Um, and those photographs that were released of her, like I'm thinking of the purple one, the one where it looks like she's got like major black eyeliner on, but I think that that's actually like a something on the photograph where they put like a black triangle in the corner of her eye to make it look like cat eye kind of eyeliner. And she's like, it looks like she's kind of got her head down and her eyes are closed and it's real purple. That one, I think she might not be alive and maybe even frozen in that picture. Creepy. Same thing with the three girls sitting in the back seat of the car. Um, and then, of course, the one with her in the flannel shirt that says sleepy, that one. And then the one that says shh, that little tiny Polaroid that Jägermeister is holding in that picture where he's got LLK on the steering wheel. Like that's creepy AF. I'm still completely sus of him as well. Um, I know, Shan, that you have no suspicion of him, and you think he was kind of set up to take the suspicion heat. But I'm very suspicious of him. Um, yeah. The other thing that Moscow and Kylie Rodney have in common is the ex-boyfriend theme. And in Moscow, of course, it's Jack D and Kaylee, and then in uh, Truckee, it's Kylie and Jägermeister. I'm not having a good day today. Oh, I'm so sorry, Ara. Let's all pray for Ara to have a better day. No one did no such things. I feel like we could find out when certain people stop searching on jumped. Certain days we would see who helped move her to the lake. Ooh, that's pretty brilliant, Kimberly. Tsunami had a video. A lady found a lot of school buses at the airport. Yeah, I think Starkey Farmstead showed a bunch of school buses. Oh no. Mark Molina, Mrs. G, it's okay. I think I'm just exhausted. Right, Fridays. I mean, because yeah, being a teacher and getting up early and going to school and then those kids, I love teaching. I only like substitute taught high school for 1 year. Totally got bitten by the teacher bug. Like I could have fallen into it for the rest of my life, but no, I mean it's such hard work and it is just exhausting and I have so much respect for people who do it. But yeah, it's a really rough life. And then you're like addicted and you can't get out of it because you love the kids so much. And it's just, I think it's like torture in a way. I mean, it is awesome. And thank you, Ara, and thanks to all the people who teach our kids. It's a very noble profession. I've got teachers in my family, and had I not substitute taught that 1 year, I would not have any idea. Much respect. Much respect. Well, it's Friday, so rest when able. I think you'd think since FBI was there, they'd monitor search efforts a lot better. Bettery. Um, Lake never cleared, never said either. Yeah, right. But they went out of their way to tell AWP that it was cleared. But yeah, obviously something was up with that. Mellow Rose says, with all respect to what you said, you might want to check this week's Delphi because it indicates involvement of law enforcement and fraternal cult activity, which I suspect in many cases. Yeah, I know, Mellow Rose. I've been like on the brink of it. I've looked into the case in the past, but that was like prior to the arrest of Richard Allen. I really haven't followed it since then. Um, and yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff with that case. Really weird stuff. And I believe you 100%. Sounds about right. WTF Melly is Melly Mark Molina? I don't know who Melly is. I think they left her in the back of her car and is why her body and lungs shrunk. Huh. Could freezing shrink the lungs? I'm mad at Doug because he refuses to tell secret. I'm with you, Divine Justice. Yeah, I've kind of lost some respect for Doug and Nick because they obviously are not coming clean with what they know. Nick Boko Wild Goose Chase, gotcha, Jade Hunter. Yep. I follow Ara's like 100% Jade Hunter. So yeah, it took me a long time to get suspicious of Nick, but some of how I came off of trusting him was the video that Mark Molina did like a week ago about it. Really, really good. Endless rabbit hole. Squirrels on Fire says, I still think Kylie and Trinity, the cult, is practices with law enforcement stemming to the community, aka Truckee Way, not so much the average person trying to live there. Absolutely. And I was saying it right before you got here about how uh, Nevada and Placer County have been called the Green Triangle for decades. Like people that live in Northern California call the Tahoe region the Green Triangle because people have been going missing there for years and years. And I think also like a double meaning because there was a lot of growth operations out there before it became legalized in California. Mrs. G, I think he got paid off. who got paid off? Doug got paid off. Um, Christine, that's very likely in all of these cases with a lot of people. I believe that people get paid off and hush money, and it's big bucks, and we all know that the trafficking of the substances is highly profitable, but the other type is even more profitable. It's really disgusting. Um, Susan, Nick is in a lot of pictures with those children. Do you mean like the ones that were at the Lord of the Flies party, those children? And you're talking about Nick G, or yeah, Nick G, not the other Nick. Because I was actually talking about the other Nick. I was talking about the one with AWP that I lost respect for Doug and Nick because they know things that they're not coming clean with. And yeah, they probably got their lives threatened. But if you are silent because you get your life threatened, I don't think that following those orders makes you safer, you know? I just don't. I think that it needs to be called out. Um, Sammy Smith, The Road to Nowhere. I said it, but maybe Kenny too. Yes. Yeah, I know. You guys are both on it. What's the freezer theory? The freezer theory is that Kylie was kept frozen on ice, basically. Let me get caught up. Um, yeah, with a Hellcat unknown to Upchurch. Freezer, Megan said that. Yeah, Divine Justice. Did you put that in a video recently? Because I think you did. I think I was talking about it yesterday. Mellow, that they stored her for a later date to put her in the water. And if unalived in the back of a car for a few days, lungs might shrink, then to be frozen, that could explain why lungs weighed. Suspicious of who? I think 95% of these people around these cases are sus as all heck. I agree 100%. Gotta highlight that because that's some truth right there. In case you haven't noticed, Megan flew cuckoo's nest. No, I haven't noticed. So like you mean her channel? She doesn't have her channel anymore? A puncture in the lungs by instruments or by force. Um, Kylie had a puncture in the lungs. The cars at Prosser involved, I believe, the fire cam and the witness. Okay. Not following what you mean by all that, girl. That's just sus law enforcement calling off the search with nobody knowledge, supposedly, and don't search here. Then AWP finds her quickly on that day. Right. And again, my perspective is what's most telling was the anger that people had towards AWP when they found her. So, like, not only Kylie's mother, but it seems like the whole community was peeved. Like they screwed some shit up. Um, Nick 2. No, I'm not Melly. LOL. Okay, sorry. Bye, everyone. Gotta go. Love you all. You do great investigations. And I'm going to be wrapping up too shortly here. Just try to get caught up with you folks. AWP is part of it, and now with Nick, sus for sure. Doug is shady and didn't want the memory of finding Kylie. It's no wonder he accepted the Hellcat. Nick, Doug, Nick G, Megan, Jägermeister, LRN, Pap, Kate, and a few others still need interrogated and subpoenaed. Yeah, Mags, Larson, and those freaking boys, like Philip Farco and the Fight Brothers and Greenberger, Mags's boyfriend. Absolutely. And then, of course, the Hamburglers, but we know they'll never talk. Um, and saying goodbye to Christine. I have jazz band class. So you guys have fun, or I hope your day goes better. I agree. SOF. Have a wonderful afternoon. And that's how I feel. If anyone should have the Hellcat, is Nick, rightfully. Um, yeah, have a great afternoon. Ara, no, but thanks for reminding me to do that. Happy Friday, Shan. This is G. I agree. He found her when he was searched that side of lake. Then Doug came to him. No, like literally. Two things that causes lungs to collapse. Oh, thank you, Divine Justice, aka Mrs. G. Nick found Kylie on sonar, and he had visual of how she was in the trunk. Really? Oh, right. He had visual once he got down there. I thought you meant on the sonar. Okay, I follow. Right. And whatever he saw, like, I mean, we all have seen his face when he came up to tell Doug. I mean, he saw something that made him want to throw up and cry, in my opinion, is what it looked like. 100% Squirrels on Fire, Mags, Evan, Isaac, Philip, Ross, Nate H, all of their parents and more. I agree, Squirrels, and I think you are really driving this case hard and that you're going to get results. And I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody who is listening to our shows about Kylie Rodney and covering Kylie Rodney. Um, more the more we say her name, the more we keep her out there in the public eye, the better. Justice for Kylie. Kylie Rodney. All right, you guys, I'm going to wrap up and say goodbye. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Oh, here's my thumb. Hit that like button on your way out if you'd be so kind, if you don't mind. And don't forget to share, subscribe, ring your notification bell too, if you'd like. Um, and thanks for being here. It's been wonderful. This has been a longer one. You know, I don't do my lives this long usually, but I love you guys and I love being here with you. So thanks for being here with me. Sending you light, sending you love. Hope you have a great afternoon. Hope you have a lovely weekend and that you get good rest, good nutrition, good hydration, and good relaxation. Even though that's a lot like rest, it's also important to just be relaxed when you're awake too. Thanks for the thumb, Jade Hunter, Kylie Rodney, the best people on YouTube. Thanks, Justice and everyone. TGIF, real breath. Yes, rest, breathe, take care of yourselves. Breathing. Don't forget to breathe. I need to get this OBS video put together and watch Ara's video, then catch up with Mrs. G's content. Me too, me too. Justice for Kylie Rodney. Thanks, you guys. And love to all of you. Love and light. Peace out. Have a fantastic rest of your day and hope you have a great weekend. And I just hope people are doing well and taking care of themselves and the people around you and pets. Thank you.